For those who aren't aware, Kero the Wolf was a furry YouTuber. The thing that made Kero more well known than he already was a massive pile of allegations accusing him of partaking in zoo sadism, a much more violent vein of zoophilia. The evidence came in the form of Telegram chat logs almost too gruesome to describe. For those interested, I recommend giving the Don't Mess With Dogs series by Cecil McFly a watch. Now, the reason Kero is being mentioned here is that he's been showing signs of becoming more active online. Around the time of part 2 being posted, Kero could be found pinning and replying to a comment on his YouTube account, as well as liking tweets on his Twitter page. I mean, hell, even just last night before I wrote the script, he's been liking tweets on his latest YouTube video. So, this raised a question. And because I'm somewhat pessimistic, that question became something else. Not will Kero make a comeback, but what will happen when Kero comes back? What will happen when the man who porked dogs, as well as a deer corpse, comes back to YouTube? I kinda share the same sentiment as my friend in the idea that Kero returning would start another furry war-esque thing, but looking at the comment section, I don't think I'd like to know the answer. The reason this question even came to mind was seeing a post on Kero's community tab about 3 months ago today. There isn't much significance to the message concerning what he's done in the past, or, well, what the Iranian super hackers framed him for doing, but I'll give the first few sentences a quick read through. Hey guys, been a while. I miss talking to you. I just finished watching the debate, and oh my god, it was like a Hot Pocket with no cheese, just soggy and disappointing. Kind of like a deer corpse. Okay, but seriously. Kero goes on about the first presidential debate, and how it was complete and utter cow manure. We don't want the future of this country to be a Hot Pocket with no cheese and a hard shell, as opposed to reading this, which felt like a recently recalled Hot Pocket, pepperoni. With a sharp pain in the mouth, but the bad simile wasn't the part that unnerved me. It was the replies to this community post. Please come back, we miss you. Much love from me. You're finally back, :3. I believe everyone should get second chances. Scrolling through his posts, I could not find a single comment being critical of him or his actions, other than my own made that night. However, it prompted a response from his completely and entirely unbiased moderator. A moderator who supposedly banned me, and chances are my comment can't be seen. So yeah, that might have something to do with it. But back on track here. What's gonna happen when Kero comes back? I mean, he left the fandom back in 2019 in a Kyber-like fashion, while going on to mention Sonic Fox, similar to JSONFX. He'd preached that he was this furry who wanted to make people feel like they belong, while saying that the controversy surrounding him screwing dead animals was nothing more than cancel culture and his private matters. Calling the evidence people used fake and blurry, and that they were all trolls, backstabbers, and thanking the people that supported him throughout his abhorrent behavior coming to light, who didn't believe the liars and trolls. One could call that almost cult-like us versus them rhetoric. One could do that, but maybe I'm just reading too much into this. But if you have any thoughts on the issue, you can be sure to leave them in the comments below and I'll be sure to take a look through them. For now, let's just take a look into the next topic of this video. So this piece brings us back to the last year, or well, last month if you want to be technical about it. Because on the 29th of December, the National Police Association would come to make an announcement on Twitter.com, a call-out post on their most fearsome and abysmal enemy yet, furries. NPA 2020 Year in Review, attacked by malicious media, Twitter account infested with costumed cop haters. The article was certainly taken well, in some sense, I suppose. I guess it wouldn't really be fair to cast judgment without reading it first, so here we go, I guess. Did you know there was such a thing as furries? We didn't either, but apparently it's a thing. That's really cute, admin. You mean to tell me that the year is 2020 and you're just now realizing what furries are? There's boomer than the... Well, actually no, I think there are a good chunk of boomers who actually know what a furry are anyways. Some of them are purportedly Nazis. Yeah. Purportedly might be a little too nice, pal. Like a few other fandoms, the furry community did have a Nazi problem. But the way I see it, the furry fandom just seems to struggle with the fact of possessing both extremes of a problem. Because on one hand, you have the whole alt-furry, or the furry raiders, being a group of completely deplorable troglodytes. But on the other hand, you have a furry getting a convention cancelled due to their desire to punch Nazis from said group. There are people on the middle ground simply stating their opinions without resorting to these sides, but You know how vocal minorities are. So moving on, we have a paragraph here speaking out about how some furries were complaining about being blocked. The furries clearly know there is such thing as the NPA, because they are now all visiting us every day, objecting to our diabolical rumored plan to block all furries. We sometimes block accounts that post obscenities on our timeline. If we notice a large amount of obscenities posted by a group of related accounts, we will sometimes block them and their followers. Okay, that makes sense. So they saw one After Dark account too many and declared war on furries. I can get behind that. Seeing as too much yiff of Judy Hopps sure does something to an MF, so I'm told. And don't even get me started on the big chungus stuff, my god. The defund the police crowd is quick to argue, in polite company, that they don't really mean to fund the police. The furries explode the falsity of that deceptive claim. While we have started restricting the ability to comment on our tweets to only those accounts we follow to protect the public from the obscene replies, quote tweets cannot be blocked. As such, our posts are inundated with quote tweets calling for the killing of law enforcement officers, not just abolishing law enforcement agencies. The costumed cop haters, free to speak openly, don't just mean defund, they mean... This whole part is just... kind of pathetic, I'll be honest. You really had to use furries of all things to delegitimize a societal issue? I mean, using a fandom to say that people want the police dead is one thing. Not showing any of the tweets, no receipts, no articles of any kind, that's another one. The worst furry ACAB take I've seen on the whole cop hate era of social media was this one here, which is just... Like, who's gonna be intimidated by that, really? Another thing furries are doing is drudging the internet looking for ways to cancel us. Their weaponized article of choice is one from the Indianapolis Star with the headline, "This Indianapolis charity says it helps the police. Police chiefs say it's a scam." So yeah, the rest of the article doesn't really have anything to do with furries. They just disproved this article that I kinda lost interest in. But let's take their word that the article was reporting false content. What exactly does that do? So yeah, you're supposedly not a scam. What does that do for the cops that began the whole defund the police deal? I'm not one to get political on the channel, as it's probably the most dividing thing since the invention of the saw blade, but having beef with furries for a moment of relevancy just gives off a bit of a pathetic aura in my eyes. You know you've hit a low point when you go against a furry and still somehow end up coming out with an L. But we'll just leave that there for now. That's the end of our video here. If you liked it, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you next video. Bye.